Hi, in this video we're going to look at swatches in InDesign and how to best prepare them for using or for sending to a print shop, and for using in prepress. So it's important to have clean and correct swatches panel, that you clean up your document so that you don't have weird swatches in there that might cause problems through processing. So I've got a document here that I'm going to play with and show some stuff with swatches. Swatches can be found under the window menu, under color, to swatches, or if you have it in your panel here, you can select it and pop it out. In this panel here, you've got your fill and your stroke, so whichever one is forward is the one that you're going to be changing the color swatch. This is for type, this is for type, and this is for shapes. So if I want to change the color of type, I can select the square and then change the color of type. Go there and I can change the type to pink, say. And you've got your tints here, so you can select it and make it a tint. And there's some special swatches here that have these parentheses by them, these brackets, and those cannot be deleted. And they're set there by InDesign, and they have default properties to them. So none is no color, it's transparent. That's pretty simple. Paper is the white, so you don't create a white swatch. We don't print with white ink. So paper is considered the white generally, but if you're printing on off-colored paper or a different colored paper, you can double-click that and you can change it to make your background become the paper of the color. But generally that stays white. This black here is 100% black. There's no other colors mixed in with it, and it overprints by default. It'll overprint other colors. So that's good, and it's not good in sometimes. This color here, registration, is for use for prepress, so do not use it as a black. However, you can't delete it, which is unfortunate. So you can move it though and get it out of the way. That is basically 100% of ink for every color that's in your document. So if you have CMYK, that's 100% of each, so that's 400% ink buildup, and that's too much for printing. That'll smear and offset onto other sheets and stuff. So do not use registration swatch for black. Use this black. Unless you don't want it to overprint. If you want black to knock out, then you need to create your own black. And to do that, you can just drag that black onto the new icon down here, and it creates a copy. So this copy will not overprint. That will knock everything out. You can see colors can be shown here in the swatches panel with their color build. CMYK colors have the icon of all 4 colors there. RGB colors have a different icon with RGB. If you double click a color, you can edit it. You can rename them, or just name it with the color value. You can change the color itself to whatever it needs to be, and so on. So you can also change them from RGB to CMYK by using this drop-down menu here. And then, like, say I've got this here, I can assign it to, I got the fill forward, I'm going to assign it to this Kurtz blue. I don't want the red line on it, so I go red line, I say none, and it takes away the line from it. If I wanted to create a spot color, I'm going to come here to the flyout menu, say new color swatch, and then here, instead of a process color, I'm going to select spot color. And then under spot color, you've got your Pantone books, and I'm sorry it's off the screen a little bit, but I'm going to choose solid coded, and then you can find the color swatch in your Pantone book, and you can just type in the number that you want here. So if I type in 150, I'm going to get this yellowish gold color. I say OK, and then in my swatches panel, it added the Pantone color, so it's best not to rename that, to leave that color as it is. And you can see that there's a special icon here with a dot in it, a spot, and that indicates that it's a spot color. So what that means is that in addition to C, M, Y, and K, I now have another ink, a spot color ink. So if you go to your separations panel, so I go to Output, Separations Preview, and I open this up enough, I can see that I've got this Pantone color here now. I've got my cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and a Pantone color. So this is 5 inks in here. So it's important to keep track of which ones are Pantone colors in your swatches panel. Get rid of ones you aren't using, because pre-press will see this as separate inks, and a separate ink means another plate, which means more cost to making plates or having to put it on a press that runs with more plates, etc. So it's really important to keep track of how many inks you have, and by using the separations preview to see that. So you can get rid of swatches by dragging them into onto the trash can, and it deletes them. There's also a couple of other tools here in this flyout menu. And I'm going to pull the swatches panel over here a little more so you can see it completely. There is a tool here called Select All Unused. So when you're done with your design and you want to send it to pre-press, it's nice to get rid of unused swatches. So I can say Select All Unused, and it's looking, oh, these swatches are not used. So it's good to delete those. I can just have them selected, click on the delete button, and they're gone. Another thing to do is, since you can add colors by just double clicking here, and I can pick a color and say OK, or if I do that and do this and pick a color, say I want pink or orange, say OK, and it changes that to orange. Notice it didn't put it in my swatches panel, but it's being used in the document. So there's another function here to add unnamed colors. This goes through the document and finds any colors that are not in the swatches panel, and it adds them to the swatches panel. So there was this pink back here, this orange here, and I don't know where that red is, but there's Kurt's blue being used. If I wanted to switch colors, like say this pink or whatever, this orange, if I go delete this, InDesign will ask me to replace it with something. So it's like, oh, I want to replace it with Kurt's blue, then I can do that. And it'll do that globally throughout the document wherever that orange swatch was being used. Anyhow, once you, it's good to have your swatches all named and in your swatches panel. Double check that I've selected all the unused ones and they're deleted. I look through, make sure there's no spot colors, or there are spot colors if I need them, and then also to get rid of my RGB colors and make them CMYK. So like this needs to be changed to CMYK. Go here, say OK. I can't do anything to the registration swatch. All my colors are CMYK. There's no other spot colors. I'm ready to go. That's a clean and correct swatches panel. So let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.